Okay, guys. All right. So on Facebook, I've got the video set up for those of you who are watching me there. And then, of course, on Instagram, you guys can check me out there as well. Let's talk about the battle of the sexes. The battle of the sexes is alive and real, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what I'm talking about. So today, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I'm in on my Facebook page too because the stories, correspond. I'm more frequent now with posting and sharing content that, of course, inspires me in the form of quotes, anecdotes, or some videos from time to time, right? So part of my ability to kind of curate and share that information is because, of course, of those that I follow who have some content that's pretty entertaining and insightful and helpful, right, in that way. So today, the reason why I say the battle of the sexes is alive and real was something that I came across that was just hilarious, right? And I thought it was such a brilliant post as far as just how it was set up. And I don't know if this was the um, hosts, right? The person who hosts this page, like, there's just a certain like genius to how this content was shared and posted and staggered that I just couldn't stop laughing, right, when I read it, and I wanted to share that with you and highlight some of the things that really made this funny to me, right? And you might also find it humorous too. So the post starts out with a image, right, that has a quote on it, and I'm going to share that with you, and then I'm going to read to you what was the commentary underneath, right? Um, and of course, for those of you who are interested in where this conversation could lead, um, we got a private Facebook group we can come and have a conversation in. Okay. All right. So that said, so the image starts out with a quote meme sort of post, and it says, "What men don't understand is dot dot dot." Right. And it says, "What men don't understand is nobody cooks for her. Nobody cleans for her. Nobody makes her meals. Nobody does her laundry. Nobody um, makes sure she's okay. Nobody caters to her, period. A woman is always instantly looked at as someone who needs to take care of everyone." So when I read that, I was like, okay, all right, touche. Great point. Wow. I hadn't considered that kind of perspective, but I get it. Very, it kind of pulled on the sympathy strings for me, right? And then underneath that post, right? Because I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, you know what? I get it, right? And then underneath that was this commentary which read, "How to make a man happy," right? And I was like, and I almost didn't even read this part. I just kind of stuck on, the image post, and I was like, oh yeah, wow, man, kind of, yes, I guess, from man to woman perspective, so it could be a little rough. But then I read this little quote part underneath, and I was like, wait, what's this talking about, right? So then it pivoted into how to make a man happy, and I was like, wait, we're just talking about women up here. How are we now talking about how to make a man happy? So I was intrigued and curious and clicked. Here's what it said. It said, "How to make a man happy. Let him have his space." Ha, yeah. Sleep with him. That was two. Yeah, so it was one. Let him have his space. Two, sleep with him. Three, be his best friend. Four, don't bother him about the moves he makes. Right? And I was like, okay, all right, all right. I'm kind of vibing and feeling this whole, framework. And then underneath that, right, this is where the genius of this whole cadence is. It says, what did it say here? It said, "How to make a woman happy." Uh oh. Gotta turn the lights on for this one. Woo! Okay. It said it's really not too difficult, right? So how to make a woman happy? It said it's really not too difficult. Dot dot dot. Or it's not too difficult, but dot dot dot. To make a woman happy, a man only needs to be one, a friend, two, a companion, three, a lover, four, a brother, five, a father, six, a master, seven, a chef, eight, an electrician, nine, a plumber, 10, a mechanic, 11, a carpenter, 12, a decorator, 13, a stylist. Oh, okay, all right. I got excited about that part because I was like, whoo, okay, I got that covered. 14, a sexologist. 16, a gynecologist. um, yeah, 15, a gynecologist. 16, a psychologist. 17, a pest exterminator. 18, a psychiatrist. 19, a healer. 20, a good listener. 21, an organizer. 22, a good father. 21, an organize. I'm sorry. 19, 20, a good listener. 21, an organizer. Sorry. 21, an organizer. 22, a good father. 23, very clean. 24, sympathetic. 25, athletic. 26, warm. 27, attentive. 28, gallant. 29, intelligent. 30, funny. 31, creative. 32, tender. 33, strong. 34, understanding. 35, tolerant. 36, prudent. 37, ambitious. 38, capable. 39, courageous. 40, determined. 41, true. 42, dependable. 43, passionate. Without forgetting to 44, give her compliments. Give her compliments regularly. 45, go shopping with her. 46, be honest. 47, be very rich. 48, not stress her out. 49, not look at other women. And at the same time, you must also 50, give her lots of attention. 51, give her lots of time, especially time for herself. 52, give her lots of space, never worrying about where she goes. But most of all, it's very important to never forget birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, and the arrangements that she makes. And then it signs off with, be well, and maybe a call to action, right? So, if you're not already laughing at this point, right? And you got to imagine when you're reading this list, right? I think, there's something that actually kind of gets taken away a little bit by the fact that I actually read through all of it. And I read through all of it with somewhat of a straight face. But when you're reading this quietly, like when I came across this and I'm like scrolling, I'm like, this continues to go on, right? And you sandwich that against the first post, which talked about, being compassionate, or what a man never understands. Let me see if I can pull that up again. What men don't understand is nobody cooks for her, nobody cleans for her, nobody, right? It just made the whole thing come full circuit, and it's just hilarious, right? The whole battle of the sexes and the dynamics of who does what and why and how and expectations, right? I just think it's just one of the funniest things ever, right? There's just so many absurdities and inconsistencies about the whole thing, the whole arrangement, that I just find hilarious. So that being said, in that spirit of humor and comedy, Of course, there are some things that kind of take the heart, but I will say, on the man side, oh my gosh, when I read that part as far as what it takes to have a woman be happy, I gotta tell you, I just laughed so hard, right? Because in an unspoken kind of way, there is that feeling that there's a lot that's expected, right? Especially for anyone who's kind of going into that arena of marriage and union and partnership. Woo, it's a tall order, right? I mean, there's at least 50 things that I just read, 52 to be exact, right? And technically, it's kind of 53 because, the last point is, not forgetting really major events, birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, and arrangements that she makes, right? Um, and it didn't even add here anything about being, nice and cordial to their family, right? To their side of the family. So all that said, it's just a hilarious list, right? List of activities to be involved in on the man side, in contrast to the list of four things, right, that men have to deal with, right, or what it takes to have a man be happy, right. So anyway, I'm gonna post this in a thread below, somewhere around here, or in a blog post, so you can have access to it and see it for yourself. It is just the funniest thing ever, right? And I want to give a shout out to Nadia who posted it because I'm telling you, it like made my day by just how hilarious and how funny it was, right? And how accurate, inaccurate, and accurate that the whole thing was. So anyway, Battle of the Sexes, alive and real, folks, right? And so for those of you who aren't mechanics or carpenters, or electricians or plumbers, come on, well, you get it together, guys, right? Get it together. So, but yeah, it's very funny. So let's transition off of this, right? And on a different note, share about sort of the times that we're in, and a particular event that I created where you also can get a chance to have your say about these particular issues as far as the battle of the sexes are concerned, which is a conversation that I'm hosting and coordinating, putting some things together to host, which have to do with not productivity and soulfulness, right? And you might think of productivity and soulfulness, and what does this have to do with the subject matter, right, of the battle of the sexes? Well, at the end of the day, if you've kind of been paying attention and watching some of my content, I've talked about a particular model of life, what I call lifestyle design, that really has to do with addressing and approaching life in five categories, right? And those five categories are, or five kingdoms. Okay, five kingdoms are faith, fellowship, finances, feelings, and fitness. Okay, and so these five categories are like the areas, the domains that each human being has. Everybody, everyone has some kind of a spiritual life, whether you're aware of it or not. Yep, you do. Some people have, and which is the faith kingdom, right? And domain. Everyone has a fellowship life, which is all things social. Everyone has a financial life, which is all things transactional and related to investing and providing for yourself. So that's the money part, right? And then the fourth part, feelings, which has to do with your emotional well-being, mental health, all that. Very, very important. And then the fifth area is fitness, which has to do not just with your body, but also with your physical environment, right? The environment that you live in, the things that help you and facilitate your life, including, the state of your car, your home, your attire, your apparel, all that, right? So life happens in these five areas, in these five kingdoms. And of course, inside of one of these five kingdoms relates to, of course, relationships, right? And so, um, I'm sure there's some stats I could share with you about how many, how many marriages were dissolved, and as a function of sort of the times that we're in, whether it was people during the lockdowns or the stress of this time window where people lost jobs and lost a certain kind of stability or confidence in their mates or their partners. It affected relationships in a particular kind of way, along with affected people's belief and faith in themselves and in God and you name it, right? Whatever their higher power framework is, as well as, of course, financially, right, and emotionally and physically, right? There's some people who, of course, it goes without saying that it influenced their health having to go through this kind of time window that we've been in. So Productivity and soulfulness really is sort of the intersection of where I think a lot of us find ourselves in this time, right? Between the great walkout, as it might be, the great, what is it called? Like in, was it August? I want to say in August, like some, however many millions of people kind of left their jobs, really in pursuit of however they might frame it as, peace or something better to transition to. And there's a lot of ways that people are kind of finding and recovering and reclaiming parts of their soul that they've surrendered to the machine, to the system, to their to their sort of corporate parents, right? And this is a time of reclaiming ourselves and people finding some kind of redemption and being able to take a step back and reassessing what's really important to them, what really matters to them, and productivity is a key part of that. Whether you step aside and say, look, you want to focus on your business, or you want to focus on learning and retooling so that you can advance your career or move in a particular kind of way. Um, these are decisions that everybody, everyone's coming to, right? These are decisions people are making, and how to be productive, how to stay sharp, how to stay sort of on task, on purpose, is a very, very tricky kind of thing. I'll tell you a story. I've shared this before, I believe, but a good friend of mine really shared how, during this transition, sometime last year, they stepped away from their career, about almost like a decade-long career, to really focus on their own entrepreneurial journey and their pursuits. And they explored, different lanes and different paths as far as being able to follow through on their aspirations. But one of the things that I didn't kind of expect, which kind of surprised me but also educated me, was the fact that they said, when they used to work in the traditional work environment, they had coworkers or colleagues to somehow indirectly or directly reinforce that they were doing a good job, right? That they were on the right path, um, and provide that sort of like energetic sustenance that keeps people going. But when they were working from home or working independently, they didn't have that, right? They didn't have that community. They didn't have those kind of connection points with people in their sort of work environment because they were working independently, working from home, or if they needed to plug into a coffee shop and do whatever they needed to do there. All these sort of intangible ways that people normally would feel supported just weren't there for them. And I thought that was so fascinating because I had never really considered that. And part of why, in a way, I hadn't considered that was, I guess, I had been, I gotten to a point where I always had a sense of like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I know I need to do, right? And actually, to be fair, there was a time, kind of in the 2011, 2012 ish era, where I was inside of a community, right, of people who are online, digitally marketing, setting up their Facebook pages or setting up their YouTube channels, and really building whatever they were building, right? So we were all kind of like cohorts in this era, but some people aren't, that's not how they're set up right now, right? They're just trying to figure this thing out, right, as far as what it is to take themselves forward inside of their aspirations, inside of their goals, and of course follow people online. But that's not always, that camaraderie is not always there, right? Just being a follower among other followers is not the same as being in an environment where you're being supported and being empowered to be accountable to the outcomes that you really want to have inside of your business, right, and your growth. So anyway, all that said, soulfulness, where that comes in, is sometimes if you find yourself on that feeling it like you're in that island of like trying to figure out what's what I'm going to be talking about is how to really create and set things up in a way where you can really trust your soul in guiding you through those unknown parts. Those parts where you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know if I'm doing the right thing, if I'm going about this the right way. I don't know, right? That sense of insecurity that comes up, that feeling of quadruple guessing yourself. I want to talk about in this particular event that's coming up how to bypass that, how to transcend that, and what to do. Like, what are the literal, practical, day to day exercises and ways to schedule and set yourself up where you are not insecure, you are not feeling like you're alone when it comes to moving and marching forward with whatever your goals are. Um, and you can trust yourself that you are, taking the right and appropriate steps, right? And don't get freaked and don't freak yourself out and end up, sort of making decisions based on fear and insecurity and worry and not knowing, right? So, productivity and soulfulness, that conversation is kind of like it's going to be an intimate conversation just shared and had with those of you who this message resonates with and who really feel like they could really use an environment to have that kind of conversation and share their concerns, right, about whatever it is that you're doing. And you, even if you're employed and doing your thing, and on your side hustle, whatever that might be, there's still some sort of direction, right, that you might feel like you don't have, that you want to be in an environment to have conversations and questions about, or questions answered in, and that's what this is about. So I'm leaving a link in the description or comment section here. If you're watching this on Facebook, it'll be on. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see it in the link in the bio um, for the tribe, right? So I'll leave the link for the tribe. Inside of the Facebook group is where I'll post the link and some of the details related to this event. Um, it's scheduled to happen this upcoming Sunday, so all the details will be made available. It's as far as what we'll be hitting on, and also I'd love to hear from you. What kind of questions that you've come across, what kind of challenges you've been facing regarding sort of being productive and being able to kind of trust yourself from that soulful place, um, that you are going on, taking the right steps and going on the right path, right? I think it's hard to articulate, right? Like kind of put it into words, but that's why this conversation is so powerful. Is that you will be able to sort of like really put into words what you're what you're trying to sort out, right? Because sometimes like the words don't come out, but it helps to have someone hear you and then repeat back to you what they're hearing, and then that light bulb goes off, right? So anyway, I'd love to have you participate in this conversation, and what you can expect to come out of it is some solutions, some practicals, right? And an opportunity to join and participate and use some of the resources that are available, that are provided to help you along with charting the course, right? Making the most of this time of just craziness and um, uncertainty in the world. So that's it. All right, guys. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to those of you who are new followers on my channel, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram. I really, really appreciate the exchanges. You guys, you guys make life so great, so fun, and I appreciate you guys a lot. So thank you all, and I will talk to you guys soon. For those of you who want to participate in this conversation that I'm sharing with you, go ahead over to the bio link and click on the tribe. Join the tribe, the 25 Blueprint Tribe, because inside of that Facebook group is where I'll be posting the Zoom link and all that. Um, and for those of you on Facebook, of course, use the link to access to request to join that group, and you'll get some additional details there too. Alrighty, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.